Orange crush.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Crushin' It podcast. I hope you are all crushing it in your day, and hopefully I can crush this Broncos prediction this year. Well, that's right, everybody. We are taking a look at the schedule for the Denver Broncos this season, and already off of the bat, I see some very winnable games. I see some very losable games. So let's just dive right into things. It's going to be Seattle week 1, Pittsburgh week 2, Tampa Bay week 3, New York week 4, Vegas weeks 5 and 12, Chargers weeks 6 and 16, 6-16 in LA. Saints week 7, it's going to be Panthers week 8, Baltimore week 9, Chiefs 10 and 18, Falcons week 11, Browns week 13, guaranteed loss in week 14, Colts week 15, and then the Bengals week 17. I think it's a very interesting schedule. Definitely a tough one for sure. You got a lot of playoff teams here. From last season. So, yeah, let's just get right into things. I think Seattle is a very winnable game, although I do think it is a very losable game. It's kind of both ways, because Seattle's a tough environment. Denver's going to have to run probably off of silent counts for most of the game, but I mean, it's Bo Nix's first time in a hostile environment. Not like first time, but first NFL start in a very hostile environment with a very stingy defense. What's their defensive coordinator's name? Mike McDonald, I want to say, who is, I believe, their new head coach. That's going to be rough. I think the Seahawks do have weapons on offense, too, to keep the Broncos defense on their toes. I mean, K9's a dog. There's a pun there, applause, thank you. I mean, Geno is solid. He's good. DK, fucking monster. Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to be crazy, probably. So, yeah, tough game there for sure. Week 2 is going to be interesting because on one hand, I don't think the Broncos O-line, they're good. They're better than Russ made them look. I don't think they're completely snuff out TJ Watt good. However, I think Sean Payton can game plan around TJ Watt with short passes, running the ball kind of towards the other side or isolating him a little bit. I think there's ways to get around Pittsburgh's defense, and that's all they have. I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, their offense is not. There's no way this offense is good this year. Not with their quarterback situation looking the way that it is. Russell Wilson looks fucking awful. Justin Fields doesn't look much better, but at least he can run, is, kind of what I'm getting at. And if you don't have, proper good quarterback play, dude, you're not winning games. So I think that's when Denver wins. Tampa Bay will be kind of interesting. They have a guy on defense that I really like. Peter Schrager pointed him out while he was kind of going over his 10 breakout players. It's Yaya Diable, 46% snap count last year and got 7.5 sacks, and that is per Football Reference. I think Tampa's good. I like their offense. I like Baker. Baker's solid. It's definitely a losable game, but I mean, all of these are losable and winnable. But I think this one, really, I think Denver could either find themselves in trouble, especially if they don't game plan that well. Jets week 4, I think, is definitely the most for sure game I could say we're probably going to lose right here. And that's just going off of paper. I mean, I think they have one of the best defenses in the league. That D-line is fucking nasty. Sauce Gardner is an absolute monster. They're going to have Garrett Wilson paired up with a healthy Aaron Rodgers this year. Maybe the only real glaring question mark for the Jets is probably O-line, honestly. But I think Aaron Rodgers will find a way to make them look a little better than they are. And that's, that's assuming Aaron Rodgers is good off of that Achilles tear. But that's definitely, I think, the most glaring loss. Raiders, so here's how I think the division will go down. I'll say this right now. I think Denver can sweep the Chargers. I think they can. I think they'll split the series with everybody else. And I think they'll win their games at home and then, lose on the road, whatever. Raiders are interesting. I think Gardner Minshew is okay. Kind of rounded himself into like that journeyman bridge quarterback role. And he will be starting for the Raiders this year. Although it remains to be seen, is AOC going to start for him by this point? Like, what's kind of the plan going to be there? Regardless, I think Denver can squeak out a win at home, although I think the Raiders are going to have a really good defense this year. Max Crosby is nasty. Max Crosby is a fucking psycho. And then they have good pieces on that O-line as well, although they did lose Josh Jacobs to the Packers, so that remains to be seen how that'll go. But I mean, you still have Devontae Adams, so there's still good bits there. Chargers, it's their receiver room is not it. It's either like all kind of your number 2, number 3 guys formerly or unproven guys. I do not like the Chargers offense this year. And, maybe I'll eat my words. Maybe Justin Herbert will make fucking sugar out of shit. But I don't think the Chargers are going to be that good. I think their defense is all right. But that's kind of it. Like, Khalil Mack should still be good. I think Khalil Mack is still a Charger. Anyways, I don't love their offense. I think they're going to lose some of the good they got with Autumn. With Austin Eckler not being there, I got to focus in a little bit. Jeez Louise. You lose a lot of versatility in the backfield with Austin Eckler because he was almost just like an all-time receiver out there that you just stuck in the backfield. So I think they're going to lose a lot of versatility with that. I don't think the Chargers are going to be very good offensively this year, at least not to the standard that we have held them towards. Saints are, I feel like, a winnable game. I don't think their defense is super, super great. I don't love who they're putting out there on offense. I think they were efficient last year, but they were boring a little bit. Really, Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara are probably the 2 biggest weapons, and Taysom Hill is Taysom Hill. I swear to God, if Denver loses to the Panthers and I have to make a recreation of a dead podcast episode about the Broncos being the factory of fucking sadness this year, I'm going to lose my shit. That there's just not a ton of pieces there around him still. And I mean, we can pull up that depth chart just to see. But I don't like a ton of what's going on here. I got to put the mic down. Hang on. Okay. Carolina Panthers 2024 depth chart. Like, this is who they're working with here. Bryce Young at quarterback. I don't think he's great. Although that remains to be seen. He had nothing around him last year, so I honestly think last year is a wash. Kind of like with Trevor Lawrence, honestly. Chuba Hubbard is all right, I guess. Deontay Johnson, like, their receiving core kind of in the same spot that the Chargers are in. Like, good, like, okay, like 2 and 3 guys. But outside of that, man, Tommy Tremble's all right, and this O-line I'm not feeling. Although maybe they have improved a little bit, at least on paper. I just don't see it. They did get Josie Jewell as well, which I love Josie Jewell. Absolute tackle fucking machine. So, I mean, like, I think they have more to work with here than last year, but I still just don't love it. I don't. I think that offense is just still not going to be that good. And it is what it is. Ravens are going to be a loss, more than likely. And here's the thing. I think the Broncos are going to be good, competitive this year. They're not AFC world-class, world beaters, big step in this year. And the Ravens are probably going to put them in their place for sure, because I think they can get off to a hot start up here. Ravens are going to fucking thump them back into their place. Chiefs are going to beat them in Arrowhead. I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes. Really, these are the big 2 of the AFC right here. And you got them back-to-back weeks. That's your Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Ravens defense, AFC North bullshit that you're going to put up with right here. And then this is Andy Reid, Patty Mahomes, the receiving core, fucking Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, Trent McDuffie, that bullshit. So, that's going to not be good. Falcons, I think their defense is a little underrated, and they just re-signed A.J. Terrell, just signed Justin Simmons. I think they have good pieces there. The offense is going to be where all of my question marks are, because, how is Kirk Cousins off of that Achilles? Is he even playing by week 11? How good is Kyle Pitts? Oh, my God. This is going to be the year that we for real find out how good Kyle Pitts is. Like, just think about that for a second, because he is going to get good, legitimate quarterback play for the first time in his career, and he might not know what to do with that. I really think this is going to be the first year that we're really going to see how good for real Kyle Pitts is. But, I do think the Falcons are a winnable game for them. Broncos will, as I've already said, they'll probably drop this game right here to the Raiders. Cleveland's interesting because they have a damn good defense, and the offense is getting their claws back. Last year when Denver kind of pummeled them, they were very declawed. They were without their starting quarterback, no running back to speak of. Like, Denver caught them at a bad time, and they kind of beat the tar out of them. I feel like Denver always plays Cleveland really well. So I'm not going to write that off I'm going to write that as a loss for now, but things could easily change. For sure. Bye week, guaranteed loss. We are not beating the bye week. Week 15, I'm not going to take the preseason game really into account, but I do think the Colts are a winnable game. I don't love their receiver room outside of Michael Pittman. I think DJ Chark is all right. Is he a Colt or is he a Charger? DJ Chark. Hang on a second. Now I got to go check. Colts receiver depth chart, or just depth chart. They are the ones that have so it was the Chargers. Okay, so I'm losing it, but it's Pittman, Downs, and Adonai Mitchell. I don't love this receiver room. I think their tight end room is actually a little underrated. Maybe not great, but I think it's all right. And really, the Colts are going to be a running football team this year. That's just how it is. They've got Anthony Richardson, who can use his legs. I see him as like a Cam Newton type, kind of a wild thrower, but really good with his legs, who I think he can ride on those legs until he develops more as a passer. I just think Denver always plays the Colts really well, too, and I could see that as a win. I did determine that the Broncos would sweep the Chargers for reasons, and I think the Bengals game is really going to come down to how much of their team is intact by week 17. Is Joe Burrow still in the starting lineup? How is everything looking there? I'm gonna pencil it as a loss, and that's just on if the Bengals have everything that they have, and then really whether it's by playoff resting intervention or something. I think Denver steals a win in week 18 against the Chiefs. I think they do. It's at home. So I'll give them that leeway. So with all of that being said, where's my edit tool? I need a pencil here. I need my pen to drive home my point. So best case scenario, I think you're going win here, probably win here, loss here, and then, we'll go loss here. And then here you're going to get another win, another win, another win, another win. That's a hot start. And again, this is best case scenario. We're still being realistic for the most part. That's a loss, that's a loss, that's a loss. This one's probably a win. But then that's a loss, win, loss, win. So what is that? So 2-2, 6-2, 6-3, 6-4, 7-5, or 7-4, 7-5, 7-6, 8-6, 9-6, 9-7. So 10-win team. I think is best case scenario. So let's just put that up here. 10-7 is I think this team's ceiling this year. I think they're still putting some pieces together. But I think Bo Nix can have a really good rookie season this year. And I think a lot of these games are definitely winnable. It'd be the best Broncos football we've seen in years. But now let's switch gears and kind of look at some of the games that I thought were kind of toss-ups. Like, let's throw that as a loss for sure. Let's turn this Chargers game into a loss. Let's turn the Saints game into a loss. What else? This Chiefs game is a loss. Now we get swept. Sad. Colts game is the next one up that I think of is like a for real loss. So now that leaves you. So that's what, like 1-3, 4-4, 4-5, 4-6, 5-6, 5-7, 5-8, 5-9, 5-10, 6-10, 6-11. So your really worst case is probably 6-11, which is really just like Bo Nix taking more lumps than you thought he would. Nothing gelling completely until maybe kind of the midway or end point of the season. It's and I think those are really solid, like floor ceiling for him. 6 wins. I don't think they're gonna win under 6 games this year. I just don't see it happening. I think that they're able to put enough together that maybe they can pull out a couple of solid wins, but they're not ready to go start banging on the doors of like our big 3 right here. I don't think they're ready to go start banging on those doors yet. But I think if everything can gel together, 9-8, 10-7 isn't out of the realm of possibility. I would probably swing for 9-8. I'd maybe throw another loss on to like the Colts or maybe even the Saints. But with that being said, that is my kind of prediction for I should probably write that down actually before we do the outro. My prediction for him this year is going to be 9-8, and maybe they get a wild card berth. And now, with that being said, this has been the first episode of the Crushing It podcast. If you guys do enjoy it, if you guys did enjoy, let me know your predictions down below, and like, subscribe. And with that being said, you guys keep crushing it, Broncos country, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.